Hi again, everybody, and welcome into MASL TV. Tonight, the Kansas City Comets host the Tacoma Stars alongside Eric Bergrud. I'm Nick Vassos. The Comets come in with a record of 2-3. The Tacoma Stars come in with a record of 2-4. They lost last night in St. Louis. And as we talk about Tacoma, Eric, we welcome back a very familiar face to Comets fans.
Danny Waltman, he looked fantastic last night. In fact, it's a game they should have won. They were up 6-4 and gave up 3 late goals. You know what he's capable of. He stands up strong, and he will put on a good show for his former fans here in Kansas City.
Yeah, another player also from that 13-14 championship team is also going to be back for Tacoma.
Alex Mexon, saw him play a little bit last night. See that number 77 trolling the wings here again for Tacoma. It will be fun.
Now for the Comets, they are 2-3. Leo Gibson, once again, he's leading them not only as a head coach, but also with their goals and assists.
Well, it's interesting. We talked the last game here about the deal about being a player coach and how you have to concentrate on both. But then when you see players dumping the ball in the corner for Leo and him turning around, it's like magic watching him play. And he's once again near the top in the stats for the entire MASL.
Yep. And how about John Sosa?
They missed him last weekend, so they played 2 games down in Texas. He was standing on the bench as assistant coach. I know he's glad to be out here. They need him. They need a win here today.
And then lastly, how about the Comets and Stars, 2 iconic franchises in the game of arena soccer?
They go way back. Well, and I'll talk about it on air. I was actually going through old stats to count the number of players that have played on both teams. It's historic going back in the 80s. It's going to be great to reminisce. Always great to see Tacoma come here to put on a battle.
Yep, we got a few stories, and we got a good game tonight here at Silverstein Ice Center's Arena, and the kickoff is coming up.
Please join us in paying respect to our colors as Ashley Curlis performs our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Hi, everybody, and welcome into MASL TV. Great to have you here on this Saturday night alongside Eric Bergrud. I'm Nick Vassos. Tonight, it's the Comets and Tacoma Stars, two of the iconic franchises in the indoor game, Eric. And I know in our pregame you talked about some of the memories that you have as a youngster as far as the Tacoma Stars are involved. In fact, I think you were at the Tacoma Dome one day.
I was. Actually, in 1985, I went up for a spring break. I watched a game up there. It was crazy. That arena seated more than 20,000. Some of the players that played for the Stars in their heyday, Pregame, familiar names to Kansas City. In fact, there's a whole list of people that have Kansas City and Tacoma connections. Dating into recently, we talked on pregame, Danny Waltman and Alex Megson leaving Kansas City to head to Tacoma.
In fact, it was 36 years ago tonight that the Comets and Tacoma Stars played their first ever match. I think it was at the Tacoma Dome. I don't have the final score of that game, so if anybody out there from Tacoma is watching this and you know the score or details of that game, let us know. Maybe the resident historian, Mr. Brian Holland from Hot Winter Nights, might be able to chime in and let us know about that game.
But going back to that era, there's so many names that will be familiar, both to Comets fans and Stars fans. Forwards like Kia and Dale Mitchell. Midfielders, Greg Ian played for both teams. So did Carl Valentine and Pato Marhetic, who was magic with the ball. Barry Wallace played defender for both teams, and Mike Dowler, who was a mainstay goalkeeper for both teams in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, at that 83-84 season that I referenced just a few minutes ago, players like Enzo DePede, of course Gino Schiraldi, and the list goes on and on, some of those iconic Comets teams from years past. Tonight, it's the Comets 2-3, trying to even their record here at home against a Tacoma team that's 2-4. And boy, they lost a tough one last night in St. Louis.
And they were winning. They were up 6-4. I thought they had it done. And as the St. Louis announcers mentioned, ambush teams in the past would have rolled over, but they battled back, made it 6-5, 6-6, ultimately won 7-6. This is a scary team, and I think that one of the things I would watch here is Nick Pereira with the ball. It's kind of like that Disney movie Up, where the dog thinks about the squirrel all the time. You're going to see Comets defenders looking at Pereira bouncing the ball off his foot. Comets have to be very careful and concentrate on defense, because he will beat you with his passes as well as his shooting.
Nick Pereira, the new head coach for the Tacoma Stars, Tacoma parted ways with Sawatsky and brought in, made Nick Pereira the head coach. Pereira is the reigning most valuable player of the MASL and quite possibly the best target player in the entire league.
He has the whole game, and just watch his passing today, Nick. He's sensational. He makes the players around him that much better. They have some strong players. Definitely watch out for Ramos running off a Pereira throughout the game.
Comets in home blues, blue tops, blue shorts, and white socks. Tacoma comes in with those iconic jerseys in white. Comets moving left to right, no score early on. Again, Kansas City 2-3, trying to even their record. And then they'll make a trip down I-70 to take on the St. Louis Ambush for your New Year's Eve game on Tuesday afternoon. Comets win the ball back. Kyle Williams trying to get it into Gibson. But the Stars able to knock it free.
And there's Pereira. 3-on-2 breakaway here.
Here come the Stars leading the break. And that's Ramos down the right side. Comets get back defensively. Now they try to head it over to Pereira, but it eventually heads back towards the half line. Sam Zissette is there. He brings it near side. Forward it comes to Pereira. Here's Pereira. He draws a crowd, a pair of blue Comet jerseys. Pereira splits the defense. Ball free, whistle, and a foul called on Tacoma.
And Nick, this is our first viewing. His MASL debut, Lou Meisner in goal for the injured Mark Saxby. Saxby, I thought, was sensational last weekend in Texas. 2 strong games. We don't know what to expect from Meisner. It's going to have to be a team defensive effort in front of him to preserve the victory, and they really need a victory because it looks like Milwaukee's going to win again today, right ahead of them in the Eastern standings.
Well, you're right. Saxby has played very well in his 2 games. He's 1-1, but his goals against average is 4.1. Any details on the injury to Saxby?
What we were told was foot injury, and so right now, because of visa challenges, there's one healthy goalie for the Comets.
Rodriguez goes off the boards into the area, and then it's kicked back away from the goal. Comets sent a whistle first, a foul called against Kansas City, and will go back the other way. So Lou Meisner making his debut.
He was getting warmed up by Nicolau Netu, rookie goalkeeper, whose visa hasn't been approved yet. I understand from people who watch him in practice, he's the real deal. I saw him play in college. Tall Brazilian goalkeeper, good with his feet too.
Working on a master's degree, I understand. Is that true?
I didn't know that.
I thought maybe he was working on a master's degree. I could be wrong.
You might be right.
But
You're right.
but both Nicolau Neto and Lucas Sousa, they are, and along with Ramon Palmer, those are 3 players that the Comets are hoping to have back by February 1st. That's the target date.
When I was speaking to Thad Bell earlier, and he said, having seen them in practice, if we can just hang in their playoff position when we have everybody healthy and everybody eligible to play, we're a contender in the East.
That's something. There's a lot of good teams in the East. Also, one other update for you fans who may have seen Kevin Ellis on the official roster at MASLsoccer.com. Kevin Ellis is expected back, if he is healthy, for the Comets' next game, or the second next to the next game, and that's January 4th. That'll be a game against Milwaukee, if I can spit it out. So Kevin Ellis, he was such a big factor last year in helping the Comets make the playoffs.
And you need all hands on deck against Milwaukee. They're showing again they're a contender to win it one more time, retain their championship title.
Here come the Comets out of their last third. They get it up to Nacho Flores, back to Sosa. Sosa comes near side to Berto. Meisner plays it right up to Adam James, and Adam James is called for the foul. He goes in low and gets tangled up with Adrian Correa.
One of the things I would look for with goalkeepers, especially fresh, is how comfortable they are with their feet. That ball was a little bit dangerous. You want to see Meisner think, get it to his teammate rather than creating a takeaway in the other direction.
Here's Pereira. Comets take it away. Sosa on the far boards. He's the team captain. He's got the captain's band on tonight. Palmer up to James, back to Sosa. Sosa forward to James, who's across the half line. Forward down to Kyle Williams. Good pass. Kyle will put on the brakes, draws a crowd, and the Comets will set up their offense. Sosa, one touch, fires. That one just wide. Waltman full extension there, but it did not hit the target. Danny's got it, and Waltman unloads. Here come the Stars. Lamar Nagel, former MLS product, having played for the Sounders, the DC United, and Montreal Impact.
And he had a goal last night, looked good as well. They have weapons on this team.
They have an interesting team. Yeah, they're similar in the way that the Comets have kind of built their roster. There, I think 10 of the 13 players on the Tacoma side are from the Washington area.
Yeah, and it's all local, and there's a huge history in the Puget Sound, in Seattle as well as Tacoma. A great history on the pro level and a lot of strong college teams. And if you look up and down their roster, you see University of Puget Sound, University of Washington, Seattle U, all good quality programs there.
Pacific Lutheran University.
There's another one, yeah.
Yep. So pretty interesting. In fact, coming up at halftime, we're going to talk with Stars owner and president of the board of directors for the MASL, Lane Smith. So we'll chat with Lane about that, and we'll get his take on the early season and what's happening around the MASL.
And it's been the most competitive I've seen in years. On any given day, it seems like one team can beat another. So you need to bring your A game and not just assume that you're going to get a team that's going to be a rollover. It's not like that anymore.
There are more close games these days than I think I can ever remember. More one-goal games.
Well, and the Comets, up until their last game at Dallas, they played one-goal games. Their losses were one goal. I think they just ran out of gas. And we'll see what happens with Tacoma. They played last night in St. Louis. You know, in the MASL, when you go on the road, you're going to get these two-game weekends, and you somehow have to find a way, if you lose the Friday game, to give enough to pull that one back on Saturday. And they've got this again next weekend with Dallas and Mesquite. So this is going to be Groundhog Day for them if they can get through this part of the schedule.
Yeah, and they're hoping to, Eric. This is the 4th of 6 consecutive on the road. Here's Corey Keats. He's by Stokic. Keats moving in. Out front. Shot. Save. Meisner. Still out front and loose. Eddie Na. This one on back to Logan Jones. Back to Eddie Na. Eddie lost it. Ray Sari picks it up. Here's Ray Sari going forward, and he is fouled and taken down.
Na had a goal last night off a pass down the left side, one touch into the top corner. That guy has speed. Again, a lot of impressive players on the Stars roster.
Sosa. Shot. That from Nacho. Easy save made by Danny. Yeah, they've got Tacoma as they press up out of their last third. Comets trying to win it back, and they do. That's been one of the tactics from head coach Leo Gibson, is to try to win the ball back on the offensive half, and they've done a pretty good job of that, at least in their games here at home, this is just the second home game that the Comets have had this year.
There goes Guy Gomez. He's been getting a regular shift. He's been putting in the time and scored several goals his last couple games, and it's good to see him contending for playing time, particularly when they're dealing with injuries as they have earlier this season.
On the far side, it's Suzette. Correction, that was Pereira. Now forward into the corner. Comes for Nagel. Nagel with his back to the goal, plays it front and center. Out wide, here's Caceres with a drive. That one, and the rebound, no good.
You would think Pereira would score that 9 times out of 10. Meisner was down, but took a bad hop on him, went into the crowd.
Changes for both teams. Tacoma is playing without several players. Jamail Cox, Adam West, Vince McCluskey, Chase Hansen, and Dan Antoniuk, as well as Philip Lund, who has not played a game this year for Tacoma. So they've called up some reserves, including Correa, DeLuna, Eddie Na, and we heard from Logan Jones a little bit early on. So these are first-year players for the Tacoma Stars. Here's Berto in the corner, off the board, still loose, and then up into the air. Waltman skies up and grabs it.
It's also interesting to see what Coach Pereira is doing in terms of his lines. It seems like his line, he's got the studs on that line. He had Ramos out there, had Nagel out there and himself. It's going to be interesting to see if he shifts up his lines or goes this way with one really, really strong line that the Comets are going to have to figure out how to contend with.
On the field for the Comets, it's Sosa, Kyle Williams. Stefan Stokic is on there, but he goes off. Matt Lewis comes on. Leo Gibson out there as well, along with Ray Lee and now Ray Sari. Here's Rodriguez. On over to Lewis. Lewis now wearing number 15. Into the corner to Gibson. Over to Rodriguez. Here's Lucas, front and center. Left side, Sari. Sari got the game-winning goal against the Mesquite Outlaws.
Coach Tattoo, huh?
Yeah, when they were on their Texas two-step with Mesquite and Dallas. Down to Ray Lee. Lee away from the goal, led Lewis. Comets with some possession here. 6.5 to play in the opening quarter. Ray Lee into the middle looking for Gibson. Kicked away by the Stars. Caceres trying to clear it. Sari holds it in. Gets it over to Gibson. Gibson back to Sari. Sari hits the deck, but no call. Both teams play on. Derek Johnson back there digging into the boards, and it squirts on over to Waltman.
It looks like Lee didn't want to give him a free pass, something Waltman did extremely well last night were his distributions. In fact, he got an assist on one of the goals, on Na's goal, if I remember correctly. Can throw the ball like a laser down the field.
Waltman making his 7th start of the season. He's played every minute. He is 2-4. He's stopped 70 of 108 shots so far for a save percentage, 65%. And his goals against is 6.4. Here's Pereira. He gets by Nacho. Plays it forward to Correa. Meisner comes off his line to kick it away. Held in by Corey Keats. Corey Keats going forward. Keats flicked it right to a Comet player. Palmer's going to try to clear. Keats gets it back. Deflects right off of Sosa's face.
Took one for the team there, Nick.
Right back up. John's okay. Here comes Gibson. And then Gibson taken down from behind and a foul.
I wonder what the referees do with two-player coaches out there. Do they listen to them, or do they just like, yeah, you're not the captain, be quiet. I don't have to take this from you.
Here's Nacho. Into the corner for James. Richmond, Missouri native. Back to Nacho, who fires from long range, and that one had some heat on it. Waltman made the save and then caught his own rebound. Line drive clearance, controlled by Sosa. Back to Meisner. Whoa, dangerous pass there by Meisner up to Sosa.
Again, let's watch his feet and just how comfortable he is with distributions under pressure.
They got it into Leo. He tried to lay it off to a teammate, but Tacoma takes it back. Here comes Pereira chugging down the left side. Pereira out wide to Na, shoots and scores! Eddie Na puts the Stars out front 1-0, and a timeout on the field. 4:13 to play in the first. Tacoma strikes first as Pereira led the team down the field, slid it over to the right.
Hey, he got past Leo Gibson, and not just one time it with a left foot, nothing Meisner could do. The strength Pereira had against Leo Gibson there just muscled him off the ball, and it was a 4-on-1, 4-on-2 counterattack for the Stars.
Well, the official MASL podcast is now ready for you to download. Check out what's the latest in the 2019-2020 season as we talk to players, officials, coaches from across the league and take you behind the scenes. So check out MASLsoccer.com to listen to past episodes and subscribe to the official MASL podcast on Apple Podcasts. Also, the 5th episode of MASL Primetime is available at MASLsoccer.com, so be sure to check that out as we give you a live look inside the huddle here. There's head coach Nick Pereira talking to his team, and boy, what a start for Tacoma. This is exactly what they needed for their second straight game on the road.
And again, they look really solid. They counterattacked really well, just made some defensive mistakes there at the end of the game. It's going to be interesting to see what the Comets do tactically. I noticed that Alan Mayer has stepped up on top of the bench, so he's acting as Leo Gibson's eyes and ears on the bench. We'll see if that causes Gibson to coach this game a little bit differently with somebody with Mayer's experience there on his back.
So first quarter action here. The first goal scored by Eddie Na with the assist to Nick Pereira. Eddie Na getting his 2nd of the season.
And you mentioned Pacific Lutheran. A shout out to all the Pacific Lutheran fans watching on MASL.TV. That's 2 goals in 2 games for Na on this road trip for the Stars.
He was added to the roster in November. And for Nick Pereira, He picks up his 8th assist to go along with 8 goals.
He is just so comfortable with the ball.
Oh, he scored 80 points last year to top all of the MASL. He also led in assists, 41 assists. Leo Gibson was second in points and second in assists. Yeah, Pereira clearly the MVP last year. He's off to a good start here.
And we talked at the last game here, Nick, about the adjustment that Gibson would need to make as a player coach. Clearly, Nick Pereira has found it, and it definitely hasn't affected his playing. We'll just see how well they do tactically with him on the field. And Ramos all by himself.
Here's Ramos from the pass from Keats. He shoots at a kick save by Meisner. The rebound kicked out of bounds by the Comets, and that's going to give Tacoma a great opportunity at the top of the arc.
Ramos looked really good in last night's game, too, and they have weapons. Pereira scored a goal off a set piece just like this, and just in the same position where it was just a short pass to him, one-timer with his right foot. We'll see if they try this 2 nights in a row.
Caceres behind the ball. Caceres trying to slide it down to the left post. Kicked away by the Comets, and now a fight for the ball in the corner. Palmer is there along with Nacho.
Palmer must have watched something from last night. He cheated a little bit just not to let that entry pass go into Pereira off the free kick.
On the far side, Michael Ramos is there. He's chopped down by a Comet player. And another restart coming up to Tacoma.
College foul number 19, his second of the half.
Sosa's second foul. Sosa not happy about it. He's chewing on the official. Pereira back to Caceres. Caceres from long range, and that one is blocked out of bounds.
Comets look a little bit disorganized compared to what we saw in the last home match against St. Louis. Stars look composed for a team that lost on the road last night.
Ball pinging around, comes back to Pereira. Now a drive. That one just wide to the left. Tacoma, wall pass, comes out through the area. Stokic is there, trying to slide it through to Williams. And now Pereira's called for the foul as he rides Stefan Stokic near the boards.
Nagel was a little frustrated there. He tried to send a wall pass, and he was looking, and nobody came. He raised his hands up. Guys, where are you? I set you up.
Here's Robert Palmer, also known as Berto. Start calling him Berto. That's what he's got on the back of his jersey. Gibson had the ball, popped it up into the air, and then attempted volley is knocked out of bounds. They say it went off Tacoma, so Kansas City will have it on the restart in the left wing corner. Gibson stays on. Sosa will trigger the restart. Sosa. Ray Lee, shot just above the crossbar. Drive by Gibson blocked. Good restart chance there by the Comets. Here's Rodriguez. Chips one forward to Leo. No foul there. Sent back into the corner for Gibson. Gibson with Corey Keats. Gibson still battling with Keats, and it rolls around the boards and ends up in Waltman's hand, and a foul called on Gibson.
A little chippy play here in the first quarter, Nick. I think that what I saw from Tacoma last night, they're not a dirty team, they're a physical team, and I think that the Comets this isn't what they expected coming in.
Keats forward to Michael Ramos. Ramos back to Waltman. Headed towards Kansas City territory, and then Ismail DeLuna knocks down Matt Lewis, and a foul called on the Stars. Izzy DeLuna, one of the handful of rookies for this Tacoma Stars side. Meisner. Well,
and again,
miscue there.
Part of it, though, this is your first game. It's one thing to be at the soccer dome and practice. It's another thing in front of a crowd here at the Silverstein Ice Owners Arena, and your first competitive professional game, getting past the nerves. Hopefully, he'll get that first quarter out of his system. because there's another one out of bounds too.
Yep. That's 2 in a row for the Comets keeper, Meisner, again playing for the injured Mark Saxby. And Nicolau Neto, the Comets' other goalkeeper, still waiting on a visa approval for him to play. And it could be February 1st before we see Nicolau Neto in a Comet uniform.
I had the privilege of watching him play for Columbia College against Park sometimes. Tall goalkeeper. He played this summer in Lawrence for Caw Valley.
Ooh, a good chance here by the Comets. Oh, they couldn't. Danny Waltman was right there, right behind Nacho.
Nicolau's the type of goalkeeper we're starting to see now in MASL. You're starting to see a preponderance of Brazilian goalkeepers good with their feet. The game has changed so much that if you can't play with your feet, you're going to have problems because teams will press you and force you to make quick decisions.
Great point. Final seconds ticking off here in the opening quarter. Tacoma, a 1-goal lead. Here's Pereira. He assisted on that own goal. Here is Pereira with a drive. That one comes off the glass to the near side. Ramos trying to pick up the rebound. He does, gets it over to a teammate, and then across the field to Caceres. Caceres sends it in, but it's rejected out by the Comets. Horn sounds, and that'll do it for the first quarter. Pretty competitive between these two teams, the Kansas City Comets and the Tacoma Stars. We will take a break. Second quarter action is straight ahead. Great to have you here on MASL TV.
118 with a special guest. All right, thank you, Nate. Comets fans.
The city has once again graciously donated their suite this season to honor the men and women who defend our country. At each home game, the Comets Dominoes recognize local veterans for their service. Today, we welcome Jesse Bennett to the Dominoes Defender Suites. Jesse enlisted in the United States Marine Corps in 2004. Jesse deployed 3 times to Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Iraq Freedom. He served in both anti-terrorism and special operations training group. Jesse was medically retired in 2014 after serving for 10 years. He lives in Platte City with his wife and his 3 children. His family-owned business called Veterans Medical Supplies and volunteers at the Veteran Specialist with Team Fidelis, fighting to prevent veteran suicide. Comets fans, one more time, big round of applause.
Well, it's great to have you here this weekend on MASL TV. No, there's a lot of games going on around the league tonight, and a couple of big ones. The Milwaukee Wave, a record of 3-1. They're on the road in Florida tonight, running with the Tropics, who have a perfect 5-0 record. We'll try to get you an update on that score. Also, a pair of 4-1 teams are battling tonight. Harrisburg is at UCFC in a Eastern Conference battle. Baltimore 2-4 on the road in Rochester, who's winless at 0-5. And then a little bit later on tonight, Montreal at Dallas, 7-5. And then the last game out on the West Coast, it is the Sonora del Sols at Ontario. That game kicks off at 8:05 Central. You got any updates, Eric?
Yeah, so Milwaukee was up 5-1, and Florida tried to battle back. Was not going to happen. They suffered a loss at home. Milwaukee, they are such a good team, Nick. 6-5 victory on the road. What makes this challenging for the Comets is that moves Milwaukee up to 4-1, and now it seems like every game is a must-win at home for the Comets. You cannot lose serve for your home matches.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Important games early on, so we'll try to get you scores from all those games as we go on throughout this evening. Second quarter straight ahead, and we have Mr. Berto, Robert Palmer.
Robert Palmer, no Addicted to Love references at all. In fact, probably a lot of the fans here weren't old enough to remember that reference, but it's great to see him back. He was dealing with some visa challenges, got that taken care of. Great to have him on the field. The veterans are going to be so critical in this stretch because they're going to have to find a way against Tacoma, and we saw when they played at St. Louis last time. St. Louis isn't the same team they were 2 years ago.
Right.
They are a quality team. They will be tough to beat at home on New Year's Eve.
Comets moving right to left this quarter. John Sosa, the team captain, also on the coaching staff, on over to Palmer. Palmer trying to turn around Alex Megson. He draws the foul against Megson. Comets will have it on the far touchline. Sosa, his pass too weak, and that one picked off by the Stars. Megson plays it back to Derek Johnson, the realtor, Derek Johnson. Corey Keats now with it.
I think they're waiting to see if the Comets will press. They're in no rush to move the ball up the field, and Ray Sari gives a little bit of pressure, and we'll see what Mr. Waltman does with this.
Danny Waltman puts his right foot into it. Forward it goes to Pereira. What a pass from Waltman. Leaves it back. Shot. That one deflected by Meisner. Rebound comes to the near side. Tacoma hangs on.
A couple good foot saves early on for Meisner. Has looked strong in the net. That goal was not his fault. Again, want to see a little bit more comfort with the distributions, but defensively he's been strong so far.
Waltman. Now Rafael Cox. Cox across the line. Ray Sari steps in front of him, disrupts his run. Derek Johnson, and now a whistle. And Kansas City going to be called for a foul. Rafael Cox helped up there by Kyle Williams.
So they bring in Nagel. Just so many weapons on this Tacoma team. And to think they're 2-4.
I know. 24 games this year in the MASL. Waltman played all 20 games last year for the Stars. Stokic for the Comets gets it up to Ray Sari. Ray Sari will hold it, and the Comets will get some fresh legs out on the floor. Lucas Rodriguez plays it forward to Gibson. A little bit too strong. Caceres plays it forward to Ramos. Now up to Zissette. Comets get it back. Labata KC getting everybody fired up.
Seeing the younger Hector getting some minutes for the Comets.
Yeah. Here's Guy Gomez. On over to Leo. Leo's pass into the corner looking for Lewis.
One of the matches last week in Texas, I think it was the Mesquite match, they kept calling him Guy, and so I happen to know Guy's fiance, so I had to give her a little bit of a hard time about that on how her guy was being announced on MASL.TV.
It's good to see Gomez come into his own over the last couple of years. You know, he's worked hard and he's played a limited role for the Comets the last couple of seasons, and now getting more playing opportunity. It seems to be paying off for the youngster.
Well, I mentioned on our last broadcast here, something Brian Budzinski says, it takes about 3 years, particularly for college players, to get totally used to the indoor game. And it's that third year when you start seeing the big-time results that you expect. You see the talent coming in. It's just, it takes time to adapt.
Here's Alex Megson. Played over to Correa. Back to Keats. Chased by Sari. Correction, that's Gomez. Now Correa again. Adrian Correa, Auburn, Washington native. He made his debut last night in St. Louis. Foul called on Kansas City. 11:29 left to play in the first. It's 1-0 Tacoma over the Comets. Goal scored by Eddie Na, assisted by Nick Pereira.
Speaking of Tacoma Stars legends, Eddie Na is wearing a number once inhabited by Steve Jungle, the Lord of all indoors. Guess they never retired it, so there you go.
I guess Jungle's still living out in San Diego, I guess?
I guess.
He doesn't do any interviews.
I had the privilege of watching him play multiple times.
Oh.
And before he started having hip problems, he was an unbelievable goal scorer. Just knew where to be at the right time. And some of his stats from his early years playing for the New York Arrows and San Diego Sockers.
Insane.
I'm not sure you would ever be able to top that. There was little defense back then. The notion of a 1-0 game in the second quarter.
Robert Kelly, the Comets, called for the foul. That's number 2 for Kelly. Pereira with Ramos behind the ball. Pereira takes it, hits it, and out of bounds it goes.
So what do you do when you're a player coach and you hit the ball out? Do you have a conversation with yourself on the bench and say, come on, guy?
Nick Pereira, the reigning MVP.
And he's been around the league on multiple teams. It looks like Tacoma is his place, but stops in San Diego, Milwaukee, among other places.
A little bit of time in Syracuse.
Yep.
And he's also on the national beach team.
Yeah.
In fact, I saw something on Twitter just the other day about from Barstool Sports or something. He scored the most unbelievable bicycle kick, and it was earlier this year before the MASL season.
Wow. Great pass from Leo.
Sorry!
Leo just makes quick decisions with the ball in the air. You don't know, is he going to pass it? He's going to shoot it. Some of the goals he scores with the ball in the air are just totally insane.
Sosa. Front and center. Rodriguez.
Oh, he wanted that one back.
Oh, wow. He almost hit the brand new, beautiful, large, whatever vision we have here at Silverstein Ice Center's arena. It's an amazing video board.
It is for sure. I think on that one, the Comets cleaned up, left a lane for Lucas with a lot of traffic. That's one where you'd like to see a pinball off of somebody, and definitely Lucas would want that one back.
Waltman, right up Main Street. Forward to Pereira.
What a run.
Ray Lee comes over, and that one almost got it to Mike Palmerin, but Ray Lee is there, and he kicks it long, and that one out of bounds. That's going to be spotted at the top of the arc for Tacoma.
Like Ray Lee, as he plays more of the arena game, he'll know you can't just clear it like that because you do not want to give a restart, particularly with the reigning MVP on the ball.
Once again, Pereira to the corner. Shot. Saved by Meisner. Might have had a help from Nacho Flores. Stars maintain possession. Here's Nagel. On over to Caceres. Back to Nagel. And then kicked forward to Pereira. Pereira quickly settles it. Leaves it to Rafael Cox. Changing directions. Marked closely by Berto. Cox comes near side. Ramos. Now drive by Caceres. Above the crossbar. No good. Comes off to Lewis of the Comets. Lewis puts on the brakes. He draws a crowd. Able to split the defense. Lewis now into some open space. He'll wait for teammates to come out onto the field. Didn't have anybody downfield.
And that's unfortunate. Nice spin move. And Lewis scored in his first game here, wearing a different number. Wore number 2 that night, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Product of the Sporting Academy.
Here's Ray Lee. Now Nacho Flores. Nacho. Gibson. Nacho with 1 assist on the season to go along with 4 blocks. His 4th year with Kansas City.
I see what Tacoma's doing. They are not sitting back. They're forcing the Comets to make decisions.
Here's Gibson. Ooh, back to Kyle Williams. He took 1 touch.
And that was a good decision.
Oh.
Forcing Gibson to make a decision, but they will press you out there instead of just sitting back in a shell. And the Comets are going to have to find runs off the ball and find some space through that Tacoma defense.
Kyle Williams, 3 goals and 4 assists, off to a good start for the Trinidad Tobago native. Comets get the ball back again. Stokic will go off along with Ray Lee. Comets now on offense. Here's Kyle Williams sliding to Leo Gibson. And that one partially blocked.
That was a heck of a block.
That was a heck of a block there by Palmerin. Sari comes on. Kyle Williams stays on. It's a long shift there for Kyle. Now to Sosa. Sosa's drive. That one blocked by Keats.
Not a high percentage shot, but maybe just a fluky goal is what the Comets need. regain some momentum here. And there's another one out of bounds. He's been stout defensively. Is just something that you can't recreate that in a practice situation. Is what do you do when you're sitting on the ball and you have to make a distribution?
It's a lot harder than it looks. You know, I mean, from up here, it looks easy. Or on television or on your computer monitor, it looks easy. But it is not.
We're going to take a look at the last block there. Pass from Kyle to Leo, and Paul Marin went down. Took one for the team there. It's where you hopefully the rug burn doesn't feel too badly. But Leo would have buried that one if Paul Marin hadn't gone down.
There's Danny Waltman. 5 years with the Comets. Of course, won the championship in 13-14. He was the first player selected by the Comets when they were reborn back in the 09-10 season.
I was waiting for him to do a backflip when he got in here, and he didn't do it. Maybe he thought that'd be disrespectful, but I was waiting for him to backflip like he used to when he played here.
He jumped in right away for the Comets. He worked in the office, and he made phone calls to Comets fans to bring them to the games, to sell them season tickets. Danny Waltman was all in on those first 5 years.
And you know he's loved in Tacoma. Local kid, grew up there, played at the University of Washington. He's all in with Tacoma. And having, that's one of the great things about this league is so many local players where it's not just their team, it's their hometown, it's their community. And it is some sort of sense of pride there of representing your city that's special for a lot of these players.
Absolutely. And as we mentioned earlier, 10 of the 13 players on this roster for Tacoma are from the state of Washington or near the Tacoma, if not Seattle area. Action back underway, 7.5 to play until halftime. 1-0 Tacoma over Kansas City. A whistle and a foul is called against Tacoma. Comets will have it on their own, near their own yellow line. And that foul is called against Derek Johnson, his first of the half. Here's Palmer. Berto bringing it up across the line. Palmer still unmarked. Palmer shoots, and that one just wide. Oh, Berto making a bid for the first one of the year. There's Gibson!
Wide open.
Top shelf where Grandma keeps the cookies.
Great pass in from Lewis. Hopefully we'll see it on the replay. He will not miss there unmarked. Nothing that Waltman could do on that. Let's take a look here on the replay. Berto made a great run, just missed by about a foot. Lewis didn't even look. It was a no-look pass, top shelf. Cookies are somewhere there, Nick. And it's 1-1.
Gibson, his 7th on the season. Oh, what a good view of it here. Maybe even partially screened from Adam James. And that's a goal by Kansas City. Again, Leo's 7th on the year. Matt Lewis tallies his first assist. Leo Gibson now has 7 goals and 6 assists on the season.
What you see some from goalkeepers is frustration whenever they give up a goal. With Waltman, it's like, there's nothing I can do about it. Let's just keep playing.
Forward down the field. A couple of players go down. The action continues. Lamar Nagel is there. Still there. Nagel with a drive, and that one kick save again by Meisner. 4th save with his feet, I believe, so far in this contest. Comets kick it away.
That was good clear by Lucas there. Just relieve the pressure, and they can reset.
Eric Bergrud and Nick Vassos with you at Silverstein Eye Center's Arena on MASL TV. Great to have you here. Comets and Stars tied at 1-1. And the drive there almost went in, now into the middle. That one deflected wide.
I like how Pereira doesn't even look like he's trying. He just finds the lane, the passing lane in the middle. It's just so nonchalant.
Waltman calmly avoids one defender, plays it forward. And now Caceres dribbles the ball across the half line. Caceres still unmarked. Caceres shoots, and that one blocked by Nacho. Rebound stays with Tacoma. Now right side Ramos. Into the corner to Pereira. Away from the goal to Ramos. Now left side. It comes to Cox. Cox drives one in there, and I think Meisner got a piece of that one.
Another foot save there, Nick.
Pereira Ramos. 5.5 to play in the first half. Pereira moving right, marked by Sosa. Driven in there. It's loose. Sosa's there, shielding away a defender, and then foul called on Rafael Cox.
His second of the half.
Well, Meissner get another opportunity here with a little bit of pressure. Palmer came back wisely to create a passing lane for Meissner.
Palmer trying to go around Corey Keats. Keats wins the ball. And now Keats getting tangled up with Ray Sari, and Sari takes it back for the Comets. Here's Sari down the right side. Sari shoots! And that one blocked out of bounds.
Great team defense there. Correa came back to cover for Keats, who had lost the ball. And I think Waltman was there anyway. But good to see a defender in front of you if you're a goalkeeper throwing his body in for the team.
Waltman gave Correa a big bear hug, too. Kyle Williams with a drive. That one deflected a little wide. Gibson with the rebound. Now Sosa right side. Down to Williams again. Now Sosa again with a drive, and that one just above the crossbar. It bounces out of bounds, and it'll go over to Tacoma with 4:55 left to play in the first half.
One of the things you want to look for in terms of team chemistry, players that are willing to do whatever for their team, whatever to win. And I think we saw that from Correa. We've seen that with Comets players as well. You can tell they're all in when they're willing to sacrifice and do whatever it takes for a team victory.
Here's Ray Lee. Ray Lee wins the ball for the Comets. Lee's got space. He shoots. He scores! What a goal by Ray Lee, and the Comets have their first lead in the game. It's 2-1.
Love to see defenders score. Take some of the pressure off Leo Gibson and the forwards. Took a touch, took another touch, found space, buried it with his left foot. Let's take another look here on the replay, Nick. Won it off the boards, kept it all himself, switched from his right to his left foot, turned Keats around, nothing Waltman can do. And it's 2-1 Comets.
How about the effort from Ray Lee on those boards, the effort to win the ball, and then he faked the shot initially, which allowed Corey Keats to change his position, and that created space for him to drive it in.
And then shot a cross body, nothing Waltman can do. He was already moving towards his right. And something I noticed on that Texas trip, getting people other than Leo Gibson scoring is going to be critical for the Comets this year, because defensive players on the other teams are going to key on Leo because they assume that's where the ball's going to go.
Ball deflected down into the corner. Who did it go off of? You say it went off of Tacoma. Kansas City will have it on the half line.
So getting defenders, getting Palmer on the scoreboard, getting Nacho on the scoreboard, getting Lee on the scoreboard, and seeing someone like an Adam James score too, it's going to be critical that they spread the goals around this season.
4:14 left to play in the first half. Here's Leo. Oh, whoa, Ray Sari almost headed that one in.
Speaking of other players, and he had, as you said earlier, the game winner down in Mesquite. Good to see the young guys.
I really like his game, Ray Sari's game. Here's Sari. Sari, turn, shoot, save, made by Waltman.
How many times have you said in your life, save made by Waltman, Nick?
Many, many times. Whoa, Caceres. Caceres with a little extracurricular there on the Comet player. Ray Sari over there. Ray Sari, a Kansas City product.
For those of you at home watching and want a blue card, that's not a blue card. That's just a, hey, I'm watching you kind of love touch there.
Rafael Cox, marked by Robert Kelly, who's making his first shift of the game. Sosa, and now a battle for it. Kelly and Cox, and Kelly wins it.
What a pass.
Off the boards to Nacho.
Oh, Nacho thought about it too long.
Should have hit it first time. Back the other way. Come the Stars. Here's Ramos. Ramos trying to get it out wide to the right. Comets break it up. Keats plays it forward to Pereira. And the Stars set up their offense. 2 minutes and 52 seconds left to play in the half.
What a beautiful pass that was off the boards. And Nacho just thought, what do I want to do? Sometimes perfect can be the enemy of good.
Ramos wins the ball back for the Stars. Ramos still there. Nagel is in the area. Now Keats goes down. Both teams play on. Gibson's wide open. Here's Leo on the right side. Leo to Ray Lee. Shot and a goal! Comets make the Stars pay. It's 3-1.
I don't know if it was the blue turf. I didn't see Leo there. He just kind of like quietly came off the bench. All of a sudden you saw he was up. Let's take a look on the replay here, Nick. Adam James looks up. There's his coach in the corner. Where did he come from? And then all of a sudden, Ray Lee makes a great run down the middle. Again, goes to Danny Waltman's left. Nothing Waltman can do. We're at 3-1 here, Nick.
What a huge goal for the Comets to make it 3-1.
I'm kind of surprised Pereira didn't call timeout just to calm things down, but he'll stay on there, and here we go.
3-1 KC. 2:22 left to play in the first half.
And on all these goals, nothing the goalkeepers could do on either team. And Ray Lee has shown he can bury those shots.
Corey Keats, wall pass into the middle. Meisner reads that one good. Comes out, pounces on it. Keats was wondering where his teammates were. Ray Sari. Now Berto. Berto with open space. Out to Lewis. Back to Berto. Shot. Goal! Hey, Berto!
Now might be a good time for a timeout, Coach Pereira. It is 4-1.
Welcome back, Berto.
We will take a look here. Nice run from Berto. Another great assist from Lewis. One time, no look. Berto made the run. It is 4-1. We have goals, goals, goals by Comets defenders, and that's something I'm sure Coach Gibson is happy to see.
Timeout called by Tacoma. Robert Palmer back with the Comets. We'll call him Berto. He scores his first of the season. Matt Lewis gets his second assist of the year. That's 4 straight by the Comets here in the second quarter.
And again, the defenders coming up big. The counterattack has been deadly for the Comets here today.
So much space to operate for Kansas City. All kinds of blue turf in front of the KC players.
And something that Kansas City had to deal with in Texas last weekend. You play in that second game of the weekend, and your legs aren't as fresh as they were the first night. Tacoma's got to slow this game down a little bit, or they could be in some serious trouble.
Here's Cox. Cox with a drive, that one off the glass, just above the crossbar. Sosa trying to kick it free, held in by Caceres of the Stars. Alex Caceres. He drives one in there. That one deflects off a Stars player. Now Ray Lee out with it for the Comets, and Ray Lee will trying to get it forward to Guy Gomez, taken back by Ramos.
1 minute remaining.
1 minute left to play in the first half. Coming up at halftime, we'll take you around the MASL. We'll also talk to the owner of the Tacoma Stars, Lane Smith. Here's Pereira. Pereira draws a crowd.
Magic with the ball on his feet, too. They're hypnotized when they see that little move he makes, a little flick.
Big player, 6'3", little over 200 pounds. There's a drive by Caceres. That one, Meisner could not hold on. And a foul is called on Tacoma with 27.4 seconds left in the first half.
12 number 27, Nagel, his first of the half.
And here you don't want to get too cute. I think you just want to get out with your 4-1 lead.
Foul called on Tacoma. And there's going to be a warning issued against Lamar Nagel.
And now he's going to get a 2-minute penalty. Or yellow card, excuse me.
Yep. Said the magic words, and he's going to be sent off for 5 minutes.
Tacoma receives a warning for delay of game.
And I don't think the MASL referees care that you used to play for the Seattle Sounders. When you say those words, Nick, that will earn you some quality time to think about what you just did.
Yellow card issued for dissent. Number 27, Lamar Nagel. He heads to the hard person attorney law penalty box.
Sosa calling for his teammates to come forward a little bit. 16 seconds on the clock. Sosa up the right side for Leo Gibson. How to get through. Gibson shoots. Danny Waltman can't hold on. Ball still free. Waltman gets it. 6 seconds left. 5 seconds. And that ought to do it for the first half. 1.7. Oh, where'd the ball go?
Hey, at least it didn't break the screen, Nick. It went over the screen. If you're going to do it, keep that screen healthy.
Oh, Sosa's down on the field. He kicked the ball out of the field of play.
And he missed both games in Texas. Would not want to see him re-injured.
He's holding his right ankle. Comets can't afford to lose a player of John Sosa's quality. And it looks like John's going to be okay. He's moving pretty good on that right ankle.
Yeah, you definitely want to set up a player in front of this. And so Stokic will be the one-man wall here. Don't want to give them a clean entry pass. They'll go 2 people with Nacho.
Caceres bangs it into the wall, and halftime is here. So, Tacoma strikes first in the opening quarter. They take a 1-0 lead at the end of the first 15 minutes, and then here in the second quarter, the Comets take control of the game with 4 straight goals. A goal by Gibson, 2 by Ray Lee, and 1 by Robert Palmer. And the Comets lead by a score of 4-1. Again, straight ahead in our halftime show, we are going to talk with Brian Budzinski, a little MASL soccer, and we're also going to talk to the owner of the Tacoma Stars, Mr. Lane Smith. We will take a break, and we'll have those interviews when we get ready right here on MASL TV. Great to have you here.
It's time to play a little Harvesters Fling for Food, so hopefully you had an opportunity to pick up one of those Harvester balls. If so, this is your chance to walk away with $100 with our friends from Harvesters Fling for Food. Now, Comet's going to go around at least 3 times on the field. You've got to get one of those Harvester balls to stay inside of his basket. If so, then you win big. If we have more than one, we'll divide that amount equal. Makes sense. All right. Grab your Harvester ball. Comet, are you ready? Comets fans, are you ready to win some cash? There we go. Here we go. It's Harvesters Fling for Food. Good luck. Just got to get one of those Harvester balls to land and stay inside that basket, and you could win $100 with Harvesters Fling for Food. There's one time around. do you see? You got anything, Nate? Woo. All right, Comet, one more time around. Harvesters fleeing for food. Good luck. All right, Comet, come on back. Hopefully we got ourselves a winner. Comet, what do you got? What do you got? You got anything? Whoa, that's close. Let's move his tail out of the way. Nothing this time for Harvesters fleeing for food. That's right. At our next home game, Nate, I feel it. We're going to have a winner. Only way to win is by playing and buying one of those Harvester balls. That's the key, right? Correct. There you go. That's right. Yeah. I have no idea what you're saying. Next Saturday, there you go. That's true. Everybody's a winner, except for Nate. There's always a winner. Everybody's a winner for participating, Nate. Come on. We're going to have a little bit of fun. We've got at least, how many contestants do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 5 contestants. We're going to have an opportunity to win season tickets to the Comets. We're going to make things a little bit easier. You've seen us do this before where they had to measure out 75 feet, Nate. Now we're going to do it closer to 25 feet for an opportunity to win. Let's meet some of our contestants. What's your name? Joseph, where are you from? Joseph from Overland Park. Make some noise for Joseph here. Hold on, Joseph. Don't go yet, all right? What's your name? You look like a soccer player with this outfit. You look like you know what you're doing. Yes, sir. There you go. He's ready. All right. What's your name? Jason. Jason, do you want to win season tickets? Sure. There you go. He's excited. Jason is very excited. All right. What's your name?
Charlie.
What are you trying to do here? You think you can handle this or what?
Yeah.
All right. Just because your height, don't worry about it, okay?
Okay.
Your crowd. Are they yelling for you up here? Where are they at? Oh, they're at that side. There you go, right there. You just had some ladies up there yelling for you up there, too, so that's right. Yeah. He's a pretty big deal, he says. Just wave at the ladies. All right. What's your name? Joe. Joe, where are you from? Liberty. All right, Joe from Liberty. Let's hear for all of our contestants here for helping us out. Brock, get us a little bit of music, too. I feel like we need a little bit of music here to get them pumped up. All right, you got to get it to land inside there to win season tickets. Whenever you're ready, here we go. Woo! Everybody okay back there? Everybody's good. All right, here we go. You look the part. You look the part. Oh! All right. When you're ready. It's all right. All right, we got 2 more. You wait, hold on, wait. Give it back to him. I was yelling at him here the whole time. I don't want you to rush. All right, take your time. Yeah, you do it again. I was yelling at you. All right, take your time. You make it in there, all right? Okay. Wave at the ladies again. Here we go. It's all right. Good kick. Good kick. All right, here we go. Let's hear one more time for all of our contestants for helping us out, trying to win season tickets to the Comets. Oh, that's right. We're still going to get you 4 tickets to the next home game. So see, Nate, everybody's still going to be a winner no matter what. Let's hear it one more time for all of our contestants for helping us out, trying to win those season tickets, still walking away with some tickets to the next home game. Nate?
Could you hear me?
I could. I stumbled a little bit because it was a little louder. Last time it was quiet.
Check, check, check. Check, 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 check.
Does he have the mic now?
Yeah.
Good. Hi, everybody. We are at halftime. The Comets lead the Tacoma Stars by a score of 4-1. Joining us now is the owner of the Tacoma Stars, as well as the president of the board of directors for the Major Arena Soccer League, Mr. Lane Smith. Lane, great to see you here at Silverstein Ice Centers Arena.
Great to be here again.
Oh, it's so great to see you. Hey, let's talk a little bit about the advances that the league has had over the last 3 years. With you being as president of the board of directors, are you satisfied, or are you think the league is making the right steps over the last 3 years?
Yeah, well, we continue to make gradual improvements. Our fan base is growing. We're getting more stars within the league, and not Tacoma stars necessarily, but when I say stars, I mean player stars, recognizable things that fans come to see, like Danny Waltman. They're fans here from Kansas City to come and see Danny Waltman. You know, that's what helps a professional sports organization grow.
Yeah, he got a big ovation when he came through. Hey, let's talk about your team a little bit. Darren Sawatsky was your head coach last year. You brought in Nick Pereira. I'm wondering why you decided to make the change.
Well, Darren actually got a job in the USL as far as playing in a USL League 2 team, or excuse me, a League 1 team, which is a professional league, so he's coaching that, and now he's got a new coaching position. So, you know, we're all about advancing the sport. So when Darren had the opportunity to jump to a higher league, we absolutely supported that.
Great.
Yeah.
And how do you think Nick Pereira has done so far?
Well, you know, you see him out here. He has a tremendous indoor soccer mind, very organized, and he knows the sport. And so we looked around, we interviewed a lot of people, but when it comes down to it, nobody really knew the modern sport like Nick did. So we rolled with Nick, and, you know, he's done a great job.
I always find it interesting, a player coach, what kind of differences, what kind of changes that a player coach has to make as opposed to just being on the bench watching the games.
Well, yes, there's that separation between the player and the coach, and Leo Gibson is going through it. And by the way, he's doing an absolutely fantastic job with what he's doing, and that's part of a player-coach situation. Is you really have to look out for the ownership group and look out for the players, and that's a fine balance between the two, and it really takes a special person to be able to balance those two out. And when it works, you've got a coach the players are playing for the coach, and then you've got somebody that the ownership really follows. So when it works fantastic.
You know, interesting, we've got almost 4 minutes left here until halftime, so I want to ask Lane Smith about building a team here. 10 of the 13, or 10 of the, I don't know, maybe 13 of the 16 players that we have here tonight are all from the Washington area. Yeah. You've built a team locally.
Yes.
And the Comets have similarly done that too. Has that always been a philosophy of yours?
Well, yes. I mean, if we're going to really promote the sport of soccer in the United States, we have to use U.S. players. I mean, and I'm not, trying to create a line here, but it's like the more that we can get the local players that are coming back. I mean, you have on your team, you've got former MLS players. So do we have former MLS players? They attract a fan base. The local players we have within our organization, we have 5 coaches that coach at the highest level within Washington Youth Soccer. So it's part of building that fan base and building a sense of community around your team.
A lot of connections between the Comets and the Stars over the years, and there's one special connection. You have decided to step up and help this Comets brand stay alive here. And just from my standpoint, I just wanted to say thanks for your leadership in the league, and also thanks for helping out the Comets brand stay alive.
Well, you're welcome. I'm all about celestial bodies and the Comets and Stars. I mean, you got to have those together. And that's how it works. And when there were some rocky patches, it's like, man, what a great franchise, and I want to do anything I could possibly do to keep it going.
Yeah, it's another exciting season underway. Lane, we appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
All right, the Stars owner, Mr. Lane Smith. We'll take a quick break, and we'll have the second half action for you when we come back. We are back inside Silverstein Ice Center's arena alongside Eric Bergerud. I am Nick Vassos. Comets lead 4-1 over the Tacoma Stars. We have a final down in Florida. The Milwaukee Wave go on the road and beat the Tropics 6-5. That game's gone final. Milwaukee improves to 5-1, and Florida falls to 5-1. Both teams now tied atop the Eastern Division. Also, Baltimore leading 6-0 over Rochester, and UCFC, Utica City 4, Harrisburg 1. Those two games in Rochester and Harrisburg are in the second. In the second half.
I caught some of that Rochester match yesterday. The rebirth of the Lancers, I think they're going to have some growing pains this year, and it's going to be a difficult season for them pulling it back together.
Good to see them back in the league, though. Rochester's been a quality franchise.
For sure.
Also want to thank our crew tonight here. Brad Zimmerman is our director tonight. Chris Wright is on replay. Wags, Paul Stokes, and Alicia Strauss are our camera operators tonight, doing great work here at Silverstein Ice Center's arena. We appreciate your help. We're underway here in the second half. 4-1, Comets lead. Adam James with the ball. Goes off the boards to himself. Now to Stokes out front. Shot deflected out by the Stars. Comets scored 4 straight goals in the second quarter to take this 4-1 lead. Comets are trying to even their record at 3-3. And Tacoma is trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. Again, Tacoma is in the midst of a 6-game road trip. This is the 4th of 6. Their road trip will end next weekend, or actually on the 4th and 5th of January when they do the Texas two-step with Mesquite and Dallas. And then after that, the Stars are going to have 5 straight home games. And doesn't get any easier. They're going to play the likes of Turlock, Ontario, and Monterey. And as we've seen this year, Turlock is no longer a pushover.
And Mesquite, we saw Comets go there last week. Don't think of them as an expansion team. They have a lot of seasoned players that Tattoo brought over from Dallas. They are a quality team.
No
they
question.
Just beat Dallas on Boxing Day.
Tacoma with the ball. And Tacoma launches it up to Nick Pereira, headed towards the center circle. Who's going to win the ball? Ray Sari is there for the Comets. He played it forward to Rodriguez. Lucas plays it back to Ray Lee. Sari goes off, and Guy Gomez comes on. Forward, played to Gibson. Gibson gets inside one player, then Gibson gets taken down. A foul called against Tacoma.
A lot of confidence that Coach Gibson must have in Lewis, putting him on Pereira, the reigning MVP. You bring in a new arena player to go against them. That's saying quite a bit for the former Rocker. What a goal.
Oh, Sosa. A tremendous pass into Lucas Rodriguez, and the Comets continue their scoring barrage. A restart goal. It's now 5-1.
It looked like Tacoma was a little bit asleep. We'll see it on the replay. As you said, restart goal. Sosa, and there were 3 defenders. None of them could stop Mr. Rodriguez. It is 5-1 Comets.
Tacoma just looks stunned right now. And for Lucas, that is his 3rd goal on the season. And for Sosa, that's assist number 2.
The difficult thing for Tacoma, they look good against St. Louis, and they fell apart right at the end of the game. You would like to go into a 2-game weekend road trip to at least split. We win the first game, it takes the pressure off you. They came in here knowing they couldn't afford to lose to keep up with the likes of Monterey and Ontario, and now this forces all sorts of pressure on them. Down 4 goals, what do you do here?
Well, eventually Tacoma's going to have to chase the game, and that's going to even open it up even more for the Comets. Here's Meisner. Again, he's starting tonight in goal for Mark Saxby, who has a foot injury. And Meisner is making his debut.
And here's where the Comets can help out Meisner by not forcing him to hold on to the ball too long. Give him passing lanes. Don't make him be put in pressure situations, because Tacoma will have to press him.
Here's Gibson. Bangs it off the boards. It comes back to Corey Keats. Now Coria. Keats overran the ball and then chops down Gibson, and a foul called on Tacoma. 5-1, Kansas City on top of Tacoma.
Tacoma foul on number 3, his first of the half.
And you were saying Tacoma's going to have to chase the game. Well, the Comets might be playing keep away here. Lost that one, but it might be a good strategy here just to lay back and force Tacoma to come to the ball.
Here's Keats with a running drive, and that one partially blocked by Berto. Ramos picks up the loose ball for the Stars. Under 12 to play in the third. We have a new public address announcer. Well, not new, but he's back in town. Mr. Ed Bishop, who was the longtime play-by-play and public address announcer for the Comets. He's now living in Pittsburgh. He's back in town, and he's on the mic for this third quarter here. So public address announcer Ed Bishop.
His Kansas City goal calls were legendary back in the day at Kemper Arena.
We're going to get a chance to hear from Ed. He's going to join us up here in the booth in our fourth quarter to start the fourth quarter. So we'll be chatting with Ed, get a little catch up with him, and we'll bring him back on the mic. It's good to see Ed Bishop.
Thought about a hat trick there.
For Ray Lee.
Just thought about it.
You know, it didn't look like he swung very hard at that one, and that came off like a rocket.
Yeah, he has some power on that shot. And now Ray Lee will have the privilege of guarding the reigning MVP.
Megson leaves it back for Waltman. Waltman chips it forward. Sandavari heads it back to Ray Sari. Sari's out there, front shot, blocked off the line. Rebound shot blocked again. Stokic is there. Now Williams. Now Ray Sari. Sandavari, boy, the Comets right out front with several chances and cannot get it across the line.
That just seemed like that was going in. Sari had time. Just didn't have credit there to Danny Waltman too. He's down 5-1, staying in the game, not giving up a cheap goal.
Comets with 4 chances there on that last flurry. Caceres. Palmerin. Correa in the corner. Sandavari's got a mark on him along with Ray Sari. On back, he comes to Palmerin. Pereira, forward to Megson. Now Caceres.
So Pereira pulls himself out to create some space here instead of being in front of goal, looking for passing lanes instead of trying to do it all himself.
Ray Lee's got a mark on Pereira. Pereira. Cox. Now Megson. Down on the log roll goes Stokic.
The defense with the block. They've been tough all night. Get behind their defense. Let's go.
But he'll draw an extra player there that almost made it through. So Pereira will try to go one-on-one on Lee. Sandavari will cheat over. That leaves one star open, and Pereira is so quality he can find that space, and that's the choice the Comets have to make when Pereira pulls himself back.
Deep in Comet territory, Pereira behind the ball. Opportunity here for the Stars to trim the lead.
Ramos wants it. Not going to get it.
.9:16 left to play in the third. Ramos. Blocked by Ray Lee of the Comets. Now Stokic. Tackled and won back by Ramos. Here's Nah. Back to Caceres. Now Cox. Ramos. Nah. Comets come out with it. Ray Sari is there. Avoids 3 white jerseys. And then plays it forward up to Kyle Williams. Williams draws a crowd in the corner and is fouled by Tacoma.
That was a good turn by Williams. He probably wasn't going to get a clear take on Waltman, but he drew the foul. That's a veteran play from the Trinidadian.
Restart to KC. Sosa behind the ball. Sosa to Williams. He shoots it. That one just above the crossbar.
Come on, everybody, let's go.
Into Rodriguez. Back to Leo. Rodriguez playing with some energy. Comes out with the ball. Kyle Williams and Guy Gomez go off. On come Robert Palmer and Adam James. Here's Berto with the ball. Palmer forward to Leo Gibson. Gibson with a goal and an assist tonight. Out of bounds off Tacoma, and we've got an official timeout on the field. 8:10 left to play in the third quarter. 8:10 left to play in the third, and the Comets leading Tacoma by a score of 5-1. The Kansas City Comets would like to thank Miter USA for providing today's match balls. Miter, founded in Huddleston, England, is among the world's oldest sporting goods brand. Starting production in 1817, Miter is a proud partner of the Major Arena Soccer League, providing arena-specific match balls to both the MASL and MASL2. Restart to Kansas City. Here's Berto. Now Matt Lewis with a drive, and that one blocked. Right back to Lewis. Now Adam James. Front and center. Berto, now Gibson. Gibson trying to go inside Corey Keats, and Corey wins the ball for the Stars and then gets it out to Derek Johnson. Johnson coming forward and then knocked out of bounds by Berto. What a good defensive play. And now it is the media timeout. Media timeout.
How many years has it been for Ed Bishop?
Maybe two years. Under 7 timeout. Good job, Mr. Bishop. Hey, don't forget, fans, that the latest edition of MASL Prime Time is on their website, maslsoccer.com. So check out the latest episode. It is episode number 5. They've got all the highlights. They've got interviews, insights. It is happening at maslsoccer.com.
When is the last time a coach got a 5-minute yellow card? I think we've seen a few things already this season. Leo said something the referees didn't like, and the referees are saying, you're not the captain, stay away from us. And Sosa's arguing on his coach's behalf, all for naught.
Well, that's an interesting development. Leo has now been sent off, and the Comets will not have him for 5 minutes.
So, Nick, can you coach from the Sydney?
I suppose you can.
Gibson, 5 minutes, yellow card, dissent. Time 7:14 of the third quarter.
So now you've got Rodriguez, Stokic, and Sari in there. I don't see Alan Mayer. Oh, Alan Mayer's in there. Yeah, he's there. There he is. You can see him in the background there. The Comets, one of 2 Comet players to have their jersey retired. Alan Mayer, his familiar number 0.
Something we discussed at the last broadcast here. A former player coach himself for the Las Vegas Americans, the Major Indoor Soccer League, so he knows a little bit about how to prep for a game when you're on the field. Granted, he was a goalkeeper and not a forward like Pereira or Gibson.
Amazing, Alan Mayer.
And his number is in the rafters here at the arena.
Okay, no power play for Tacoma, so both teams remain 5 aside, plus goalkeepers. But again, Comets without their head coach and leading scorer, Leo Gibson. Ray Sari goes down, no call. Ray Lee picks up the ball for the Comets. Ray Lee's got some space near the center circle. Comets will play it all the way back to Lou Meisner. Sosa gets it forward to Nacho. Comets with a 3v2 possibly. Here's Nacho going forward, taken down from behind, no call. Back the other way come the Stars. Another 3v2 for Tacoma. Out wide to Pereira. Shot. Oh, Cox could not hit the bunny.
How did he miss that, Nick? That was the way they designed it in practice, too.
On the far, just sitting there on the far post but could not redirect it in. Raphael Cox needs a hug right about now. Under 7 to play in the third. Comets leading 5-1. Forward it comes into Pereira. Ball loose. Berto picks it up. Comets on the attack. Here's Berto. Forward to Stokic. Stokic to the far side, but could not find a teammate. Comets had a 4v2 there for a moment.
I just don't think Tacoma can run like this. They played last night at St. Louis. Get one good night's sleep, but get on a 4-hour bus ride here to Silverstein Ice Center's arena. That's just asking a lot to play back and forth all the way down the field. This is where if you're Tacoma, you want to convert on set pieces. No running required.
Here's Caceres behind the ball. That's Robert Palmer in your picture right there. Now Caceres in the right wing corner. Up top, here's Derek Johnson with a drive, and how about the save by Lou Meisner?
He's been solid in goal, both with his feet. You mentioned several foot saves in the first half, and then up high. Ed Bishop's trying to get fans to go here with a little Lou love.
Pereira to Megson. Megson hit it, and it bangs it off of Rodriguez, and he'll do it again. Pereira to Cox, on over to Caceres. Now Johnson, away from the goal to Caceres. All the way back to Waltman. Now we've got a whistle. This is away from the ball. Is that going to go against Palmer?
Looks like it.
Berto's going to be called for the foul. Action back underway. Pereira is in the corner. Now Megson bangs it off the boards. Ends up at Pereira's feet.
Pereira's doing an extra shift here. Notice he's on the line with Megson and Johnson.
Oh, good ball in there, and Megson tried to redirect it but couldn't put it on frame. Lewis to Ray Lee. Comets, they've got numbers. Here's Adam James sliding it right side, Guy Gomez. Gomez shot, save made by Waltman. Now another drive by Sandovari, and that one launched into section 109.
But he missed the new scoreboard, Nick, so it could have been worse.
Don't hit the scoreboard.
We're going to look at Waltman's save here. Guy pulls the ball to his right foot, tries to go across the body. Stretched out left foot.
Wow, what a save. Danny saves.
There was I won't mention the team because it might out the goalie. There was a famous goalkeeper in the 1980s in the Major Indoor Soccer League who looked down on goalies who save with their feet. But you look at today's game, you have to be flexible for the low shots and the high shots. You can't just assume you can dive down and save everything.
No question.
So the game has changed quite a bit.
Sandovari sends it around the boards. Waltman bends at the waist and scoops it up. 4 minutes and 18 seconds left in the third. Comets, one goal here in the third. Lucas Rodriguez off the restart from John Sosa to make it 5-1. Now Pereira and Stokic give chase. Stokic falls down. Both teams play on. No foul there.
And Pereira's back on the line with Ramos and Nagel too. So we'll see how many minutes Pereira gets here in the second half.
Comets defending deep in their territory. Corey Keats is there. He goes down and then made contact with the ball with his hand, and it's going to turn it over to Kansas City.
Kim Redford used to do that a lot too. He would fall on the ball to assume that the referee would call it. And, occasionally they'll call you for a handball.
Ray Sari, front and center. Sari shoots, and Waltman saves. Oh, what a save by Danny.
Danny with the save. There you go, Ed Bishop. He still has it. I was talking about Danny Waltman, but Ed Bishop too.
Kyle Williams for the Comets. Kyle almost got by Ramos. Oh, now he does with some stop and go action. Ball loose out front. Tacoma comes out with it.
Sosa holding it in.
Sosa just does the little things there on defense, and his leadership is critical. Hopefully he can remain healthy the rest of this season. And look, Nick Pereira's back.
Number 25, Ray Sorry is first in the half.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of minutes tonight. Ray Lee out with the ball once again.
Sorry, ran a nice pick there.
Ray Lee trying to cut it back. He's all by himself. Now to hold on to it and play it back to wait for some teammates.
Nick Pereira looks tired. Doing double shifts too after playing a full game last night.
To the corner, Guy Gomez.
What a turn.
Gomez blocked by Tacoma. Pereira trots it up through to Rafael Cox. Jamail Cox not here tonight. Rafael is. Here's Rodriguez. Lucas still going forward. Out wide at right. It comes to Berto. Berto plays it away from the goal on back to Sosa.
We've talked a little bit about Alex Megson and his return here to Kansas City.
Robert Kelly with a chance.
So Megson's dad is a legend in Tacoma too. Neil Megson was a defender, played there, I believe, the whole run of the original Stars. And I imagine it's something to play for the same team your father played for so many years.
Good punch out there by Meisner. And you'll remember Danny Waltman's dad was a part of the ownership group for the Tacoma Stars for many years.
Yeah, so a lot of memories, I'm sure, of watching Tacoma games when they were little, and you dream when you're a kid to play for your hometown team, and you never know where life's going to take you.
And the largest audience ever to see an indoor game played at the Tacoma Dome back in the day in the 80s, Tacoma and the Sidekicks Championship.
And I actually watched that game live on cable, and they had, I remember this because this was a Dallas broadcast, at the top of the Tacoma Dome, they had balloons ready to drop, and the Sidekicks won it in overtime. If I remember right, Willie Milano scored for the Sidekicks, and his son goal by Pereira. There you go.
Wow, there's Pereira. He turns, faces, and shoots, and just like that, Tacoma is within 3.
We'll take a look here at Pereira's goal. Turned Lee, got past Lewis too, and there was nothing Meisner could do with it. And you wonder why he's playing himself on a double shift there, Nick.
That's why.
What else are you going to do?
Right.
He needs goals. 5-2. I'll finish that thought. So everybody assumed Tacoma was going to win. They had Jungle, they had Preki, they had all the stars, and Dallas came back and won in Game 7 there. They used to play 7-game playoffs, which, if you can imagine that, what a series. And all the balloons stayed up at the top of the Tacoma Dome. And I think the players were stunned, the fans were stunned. One of the greatest moments in Sidekicks history.
If memory serves me right, too, and I didn't get a chance to ask him when we chatted with him at halftime, but Lane Smith, the Stars owner, I believe he was at that game.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a chance, 6 seconds left.
5 seconds left. Adam James. He shoots
What a
and
goal.
scores! He scores with 1.7 seconds left. It's Adam James.
Counter-attack soccer, Nick. And you play to the final whistle or the final horn, and that's what Adam James just did. We're going to take a look at this.
The kid from Kearney. This might have been a penalty, too.
Oh, he got ball first.
Yep, but he still managed to finish it. What a goal.
Good effort there by Keats to get back. Did not foul him, tried to get the ball, but James persevered. We'll take another look at it. Cleats got ball. Kind of it wasn't even a tuk-tuk. It was off the bottom of his shoe and just slid it right past a diving, sprawling Danny Waltman.
What a frustrating goal to give up for if you're Tacoma. You've just got it within 3, and then you give one up here in the last seconds of the third.
And you can see as they're walking off the field, you can see by body language some dejection there. They thought they had a chance. It's going to be interesting to see what Pereira does and whether he goes 6 attacker early, because they're going to need something. They're going to need an early goal just to get back into 3. And I don't think they can wait that long to pull a goalie.
Ladies and gentlemen, here.
Although what we saw with St. Louis in today's game in the fourth quarter, the goalie can play out. Waltman's good with his feet. They may just have him playing sweeper-keeper and take their chances.
All right, that's the end of the third. 6-2, Comets is our score. Kansas City out shooting Tacoma 23-16. We'll take a break, and when we come back, Eric and I will, well, actually, I think Eddie Bishop is going to come up here, and if we can get Ed Bishop, we'll chat with him for a little bit here in the fourth quarter. We'll step aside for a minute. Comets on top by 4. Thanks for spending part of your weekend here with us at Silverstein Ice Center's Arena on MASL TV. Alongside Eric Bergrud, I'm Nick Vassos, our director Brad Zimmerman, Chris Wright's on replay, Wags, Paul Stokes, and Alicia Straws are our camera operators. We appreciate all the help that our crew here at Silverstein provides us each game. They do an awesome job. And there is Mr. Hector Solario of Labada, KC.
Hector's having a grand time. His team is up 6-2.
He's not having a bad. Come on, look at him. Does he ever have a bad time at a game?
He doesn't. We got copied on a tweet at halftime where someone wrote, "Please stop the horn player from tooting along with the drums." I really don't think the Comets are going to do that. But now you know who this is.
Oh, we love you, Hector.
Here comes Ed Bishop, I see.
Yes, there he is. Mr. Ed Bishop is walking into the broadcast booth. So we'll check in here with Ed in just 1 second. Look who the cat drug in here.
Literally.
How are you, Ed Bishop?
I am doing well, Nick Vassos. I've been saying prayers for Nick from Pittsburgh.
Oh, it's great to see you, my friend.
It's great to see you.
Welcome back.
It's great to be back. There's a great crowd tonight. We've got a great game. The Comets had a wonderful second quarter. They're playing team defense. They're communicating. Lou, I gave him the Lou now.
Yeah.
Now everybody will start chanting that. I tried to pump him up a little bit. That's an easy one. His first name's Lou. I got this.
It's just like riding a bike, right?
Yeah, it is, except that the bike has rust in the spokes, so I'm going to try and hang with you here for a little bit. So I'm up here. I've got my future son-in-law and my daughter, Vivian, with me. They're engaged, and we're living the life back in the Berg.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome. Well, spend a few minutes up here, do a little, call a little bit of the game here. We've got Danny Waltman, of course, you're familiar with.
Danny can now come beyond the half-point line because we're in the fourth quarter, so he's going to try and probably play a little sixth attacker here. And so the Stars are going to move the ball around, and the Comets have played. I'm noticing a lot better defense. Now, Lou's risking himself a little bit. He came out on that punch out earlier, and I'm like, hang on to your chiclets.
You know, Lou, he looked a little nervous, as he should, making his debut, right? But he's really settled down quite nicely for the Comets.
He has, and what I noticed is I'm sitting right down the front row with the whole family, and I've never been in those seats without the glass.
Isn't that amazing?
So I needed a catcher's mask, but he was yelling at the players like he'd been here for a year, and he's communicating, and that's important. Here's another one.
Spending some time here with Ed Bishop. He is a past play-by-play announcer. He has been the public address voice of the Comets for decades and decades. Great to have him back, and there's a drive by Tacoma and another good save by Lou.
And Lou came out very confident. He didn't sit back on his line, and he's like, if you're going to beat me, you're going to do it on my terms. I like that.
And the one thing about Lou is we've seen him make saves with his hands. He's also made a lot of saves with his feet, too.
Well, that was my style. When I played goal, I was like, save the face, save the face. I never got any money out of the face, but save the face. And I'd come out hockey style with the feet.
Here's a restart by Tacoma in the corner. Nick Pereira out front to Caceres. Now drive by Ramos, and he rattles the cage.
But you notice the Comets are fluidly transitioning. I noticed even on the line changes, the rotations were solid in the first half. The way they would move the ball and rotate players on and off. And Leo's giving them an earful, and I think, they seem very fit. It reminds me of Vlatko's days as coach.
Now, you might be able to give us some insight. You were down there in the referee's crease. What did Leo say? What did he say to get him pulled off the field for a dissent?
He was a little mad at Kyle, one of the officials on the field, and Danny takes that one right in the breadbasket. Not where Mama puts the cookies. Grandma puts the cookies. But no, he was mad at him and saying something. You're blowing the game. And I'm trying to figure out if there was a call in the corner when there was a tangle of bodies that he was specifically focused on. But it's one of those where things happen in the corner and then they come back. They're still arguing about it.
So
looks like a Tacoma foul right there.
Yep, Tacoma foul. A restart by Kansas City. Nacho will play it back to Lou. Visiting with Ed Bishop here on MASL TV. The Comets are leading the Stars by a score of 6-2. That last goal in the third must have been demoralizing for the Stars. Pereira gets a goal. They come back within three, and then you get one, and the Comets get one late. Oh, that's just a killer.
And I thought James was going to break my heart because my Vivian and Matt were behind me going, let him announce one more goal. I'm like, he's going to break my heart, and then he put it in.
And then we heard the familiar Kansas City goal.
Oh, yeah. I miss it all the time. So, no, I'd love to sit home, crank up the YouTube on the big screen when you guys are on, and Eric's doing a terrific job. And I wanted to tell you got to, again, Nick, you've been blessed with another great partner who knows the game, knows the Comets history, and always one of the best broadcast league. There's another hockey save for you.
Good strike there by Matt Lewis and a good save there by Waltman. How many times did you say Danny saves over your career when you were with the Comets?
They kept warning me tonight, you can't say Danny saves. And so I did a left-handed, somebody hit one and Danny stuck his left hand out, and I said, I think I was like Nacho or somebody, Nacho with the shot and Danny with the save. And Brock's up there, he's going, you can't say Danny saves. I said, no, I didn't say Danny saves. So I enforced a contractual clause that it wasn't actually a Danny save.
Wow.
There's a knee save right there.
Danny
looked good.
Yeah, Danny is still loved by Comets fans.
He is. He was the face of this franchise, and if there wasn't a Tacoma Stars, he would still be here.
Yep, no question.
And he's very interested. When he first came here, the funny thing was I got a phone call from him because my wife had signed up for a promotion during the very first Meet the Comets day. And Danny called up, and I said, well, I'm your new PA announcer. You called for my wife, but I'm your PA announcer. And he thought I was putting him on. So, right in the breadbasket. We like those.
Those stories about Danny just are awesome. Timeout called by the Comets. Yep. Let's talk a few more about those stories about Danny. I was telling Eric earlier in the first half that when Danny came on, I think he was one of the first players that signed with the Comets. The first player signed by Brian Budzinski.
Yeah.
And he made phone calls in the office.
He did. And when he called me, he said, and I told him how long I'd been doing it with the original Comets and the Attack. And he said, okay, you know this game in this town. What do we have to do to sell it? He said, I've been in Chicago. I've been in places where the sport does not sell, and I'm one and done, and I got to pick up and move again. I don't want to do that. We've got a great arena. We got a great team. What do I got to do? And I said, Danny, there's all kinds of stuff you can do for free. I said, bunch of good-looking guys. Go on the noon broadcast. I said a lot of the housewives, girlfriends watch the noon news. Go on with a couple guys, maybe do the weather. And it was a competitor who was the sponsor at that time. But they did. They went on there, he and Coach, and I think Brian Harris or somebody. A bunch of good-looking guys started talking about it. And I just told him, I said, utilize the resources that are available. You don't have to spend a ton of money. You just got to relate to the people. And as more people saw Danny's face, Nick, he did. He became the face of the franchise. Yeah. And he thanked me for the advice and for saving Bud a lot of money.
Well, he spent 5 great years in Kansas City, won a championship, undefeated season. He's been an MVP. He's been goalkeeper of the year. Mm-hmm. And it's just always great. It just always brings back so many great memories. That 13,
he should
14.
never have to buy another meal in this town for winning the Comets their first championship. But he would, when Vivian had her driver's permit, he loved to watch my heart palpitate. He said, "Vivian, I'll let you drive my car." And I said, "You don't want to do that." "No, my car's not that great." I said, "You still don't want to do that."
But that's the kind of guy Danny is.
Yeah, he was Vivian's favorite. She was always a Danny fan, so she's happy to see him tonight. We were very happy this was the game on the schedule.
Oh, that's great. Comets with the ball. Deep in territory. There's Mr. Ephraim Shimless down there. Park University head coach there, Mr. Shimless. Good to see him.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Ephraim Shimless said, we also were talking about these two franchises, the way that they've built their teams. Mm-hmm. Comets have built it locally through Park University, through UMKC, through MNU, through area colleges around here, right. and Tacoma's done the same thing. They have 13 out of the 16 players on this team right here are from the Tacoma area, right, or from Seattle, or from the state of Washington.
And that goes back, that's how the St. Louis Steamers used to fill the stands back. Remember, Nick, back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, this guy went to this high school, this guy went to this high school, it really did quite wonders for the Steamers, quite a bit of wonder for the Steamers in the original years. And as you could no longer pay foreign players and run payrolls over $1 million, it became more important. But the teams in the 80s are the reason these guys are here, like an Alex Megson, whose dad played for the original Tacoma Stars. It's legacies like that and kids who grew up watching the original game. And now we're seeing the fruits of that labor.
We have 9 minutes and 37 seconds left in this game. The Comets are leading 6-2. Ed Bishop and Nick Vassos with you on MASL TV, and we have the game's first blue card.
There we go. I'm causing criminality as I stand here in the booth.
And that's going to go against Tacoma, and it appears that maybe Nick Pereira will be sent off.
And Pereira's been in a lot of ball battles tonight. And again, when I'm down in the front row looking at him, he's kind of like the Akeem Olajuwon of the Tacoma Stars. He is just such a tall target. Mm-hmm. And watching him go against Lee a while ago, it was like a Texas cage match because they're two just very large gentlemen. So that was interesting. See what we can do on the power play here.
Yeah, Comets so far this year on the power play, just 29%, 2 of 7. Sosa and Rodriguez have 1 power play each. So not the best. In terms of penalty killing, Tacoma is 57%. They've been shorthanded 7 times and have allowed 3 power play goals.
Well, Tacoma is very good defensively. Nice shot. Great save by Danny.
Boy, Sosa found a lane and drove it in there. And good save by Waltman. Now the Comets come back the other way, and Rodriguez is knocked down to the ground and a foul called.
Yeah, when the Comets went on that 4-goal run, the Stars were trying to press the attack, and they looked like they ran out of gas there in the second quarter for just a few minutes, Nick, and that will kill you. And
can you tell now? Tacoma played last night in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Can you tell that they might be running a little bit low on fuel here late in the game?
Well, and sometimes it's not always late in the game. You're in the middle of the second quarter. You were up by a goal.
They came out so strong in the first.
They did, and they were very strong. And then all of a sudden, the sugar came out of the cookie, right?
Right.
And it just takes a few minutes, and you're down. So late in the game is when we're typically expecting to see that, and we may see it again here. But now that they're down, there's an adrenaline of trying to catch up. And they would just like to be able to take the ball into the Comets' end and play target practice.
Rodriguez's pass picked off by Ramos, and boy, that was close
I
to
was
being a
watching
card.
for the refs reaching in their pockets.
I think one official had his hand in his pocket.
Yeah, no, Kyle had his hand in his right rear pocket, and I was trying to figure out if he was reaching for a stick of gum or a blue card. It was dangerous right there.
8:08 left in the game, and 36 seconds left on the penalty to Tacoma.
That looked like it must have hit the facade of the glass right there on the bar, because you want to just get that ball back and quickly move it the other way, and then that helped Tacoma by about 15 more seconds.
20 seconds to go with Missouri 1 ball.
Maybe one more time for the Comets on the power play, leading by 4 goals.
But score or not, this eats another couple minutes off the clock and keeps the Stars from pressing our end. So, in a way, mission accomplished.
Rodriguez with a drive. That one off the top of the dasher boards. And Pereira is now back out, penalty over. Here come the Comets back the other way. Rodriguez on over to Kyle Williams. 7:23 left to play. Gibson back to Sosa.
That was something like my golf swing.
Sosa pushed down by Caceres.
I thought that was a comedy routine right there.
He just shoved him to the carpet.
Like, don't do that to me.
And both teams play on.
The Comets have possessed pretty well most of that. There's been a lot of strong 50-50 battles. They've won more than their fair share, I think. And they've possessed well, and that's really been helpful.
This kid right here, Ray Sari, I am so impressed with him.
He is inside everybody's shin guards tonight. He is like itching powder.
Balmer, Berto had a chance, and that one blocked by Rafael Cox. Corey Keats comes out with it. Keats trying to run past Sosa.
And that was all ball.
Both teams
It was
play on.
close. Oh,
Meisner with a close pass on up to Adam
look at that
James.
cut.
Oh, he got it back
3
to
on
himself.
1, 3 on 2 if they hurry.
Sandovari. To Nacho. And then Waldman was there a couple of times. Sandovari double teamed on the far boards. Pereira out with it. Runs into Sari, and a foul called against Kansas City.
Nick, did you see the game last week where Tacoma was playing at Ontario? I felt sorry for Danny against King Taiyu.
Oh. 5 goals by the King.
Oh, and these things, basically should have been tracked by NORAD. It was brutal.
I mean, some of them were just downright filthy.
They're filthy. And the thing is, most people with that kind of power can't control their shot. King Taiu's picking the upper 90s, like, yeah, go get that one.
Yeah.
And he broke the cookie jar. He hit Grandma's spot too many times.
We should get a timeout here, an official's timeout, the under 7 timeout. I don't know why we haven't taken it yet.
I think that was because that was a foul instead of an out of play, or
I don't know. We haven't had the official under 7 timeout yet, but all right, we'll keep playing.
I've noticed that for two teams going at this pace, there has not been a lot of wasted balls into the seats, although one did clear the scoreboard earlier on the side. That was amazing.
As long as you don't hit these beautiful end monitors, you know what I mean?
Oh!
Berto!
Danny never saw that. If you look at his face, he never saw it. It changed directions.
Berto with his second on the night. Take a look at this one, Eddie.
Yeah, if you look at this, I'm looking. Oh, it went off the top of the foot of the defender right in front.
Oh.
And I think Danny thought he had it blocked. Let's see, here's Danny's view right here. From behind the goal, and I'm trying to look. Oh, it hits him in the shin. And Danny thought it was headed wide.
Yeah, or he thought his teammate
had it.
Was going to had it on the block. So
that's just an unfortunate, and that's part of this game.
Yeah,
it's why shutouts are so uncommon in the game. So,
it has been great to see you, Ed.
been.
It's been so great to see you. I'm so glad you came up here.
I'm glad to see you.
Spend some time.
I've been saying prayers, and you look completely healed.
It's just like riding a bike, man. You still got it, Ed. You come back anytime, all right?
I look forward. Last year there was not a game during the break. The year before we played against each other in the media game.
Yeah, right.
And I had to stop you on one breakaway, and I thought I was flying until I watched the video, and I go, it kind of reminds me of Family Guy where they got the walkers and they're chasing each other down the sidewalk. And I was like, poor Nick. Nick and me, we've gotten old.
Oh, I got no doubt about it. Ladies and gentlemen, Ed Bishop with us
Great
here.
to see you.
Great to see you, my friend.
You are one of the quality broadcasts always in the game.
Thank you. Thank
and
you.
a gold standard, and I enjoy watching you. And now Eric, every time you're on. So I appreciate it.
Eric's
Eric,
been a great decision. He's been a great addition.
you got a great partner. Congratulations, and good luck to you guys. And let's get a Comets win.
All right. Stay in touch. Ed Bishop, folks, right here on MASL TV. Great to catch up with Ed Bishop here. He's just a quality individual. Comets leading 7-2, and a lot of folks are dancing. Comets' next action will be Tuesday. They'll play a New Year's Eve game on the road in St. Louis at 3:05. That'll be on MASL TV. And the Comets' next home game will be Saturday, January 4th, when they take on the Milwaukee Wave, 6:05. And we'll have that one for you on MASL TV. Ticketmaster has your tickets. How about that, Ed Bishop?
That is amazing. So I caught him as he got off. So the first year of the attack, he was actually play-by-play.
Right.
And here's a name. Skid Rohde was the public address announcer.
No
the first year.
way.
Yeah. Google it. Check it out. It's true. Skid Rohde was the public address announcer. And so Ed then moved back to the second year. He moved back to.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Sixth attacker is in there now for Tacoma. Rafael Cox is wearing the jersey. Here's Stokic. He's going to take a shot.
Oh, that's a handball.
Oh, there's a handball. Rebound shot. No good.
I think we'll see Waltman back here momentarily, Nick. He's like, I'm the goalie. Well, you were outside your box when you handled the ball. You cannot handle the ball within that arc. And here comes Danny back as they have to defend now. 2-minute handball.
So Rafael Cox.
Shootout here because of the handball, right?
Yep. Oh, and here we go. We don't get to see this very often.
We are now on another Missouri one call. Comets power play.
So if Rodriguez scores, there'll be no power play, but if he does not, power play will ensue.
Waltman defended one last night, actually. They did not score. St. Louis didn't.
So Rodriguez will take the shootout. 5:15 left on the clock. And here we go. Rodriguez. Over to Kyle Williams. Oh,
Clever.
Oh, that was very cheeky.
Waited. Wanted to get Waltman to commit, and there came Kyle Williams.
Oh.
We'll take a look here. What if they practiced this at all at the soccer dome? Waited. Nothing Waltman could do.
That is so awesome. What a play.
And very selfless there. More players would like to take that shot.
Kyle Williams gets into the scoring column once again. That's his fourth on the year. Lucas Rodriguez, the assist. And for Lucas, that is assist number 3. 8-2 is our score. 5 minutes and 8 seconds left to play in the game. So
Coach Pereira went back to the sixth attacker. Never give up.
Pereira chipped one for the corner. Corey Keats comes up with the loose ball. Ramos on the far side now. On back to Pereira. Pereira sort of double teamed. He had 2 players in front of him. Now Ramos over the top of the defense, headed in there by Caceres, and then cleared out by Berto.
If Tacoma had held on last night, I think they could have played this game very differently. They were forced to try to win this one rather than sitting back, and I think that they just didn't have the legs to keep up with the Comets today.
Coming up on 4 minutes to play in this one. Comets in control. Comets looking to improve their record to 3-3. Tacoma in all likelihood, will fall to 2-5.
And they absolutely have to win one in Texas, if not two.
Rafael Cox to Caceres. Caceres looking to the far post for a teammate. Sam Zizet could not find him. Now Pereira. Pereira moves to his left and to his right. Stokic down on the ground, tries a scissor block. Palmer is down there on the log roll. Correction, Kyle Williams. Now here's a drive. That one wide. Rebound in there. Ball is loose. Miles Meisner pounces on it.
Strong goalkeeping.
And the crowd giving him the loo. I think Ed Bishop started something here.
I think he did too. It's pretty amazing. We've seen 3 goalkeepers already for the Comets this early in the season, and
Berto put that one on target.
6 attacker goalkeeping.
Berto's got space. Berto again shoots.
Looking for his hat trick.
No kidding. Now Pereira, under 3 to play. Sorry. Over to Adam James. James, one-on-one. That one wide.
Here's your chance for a hat trick.
Ray Lee with a drive, and
there
ding dong, it goes in! Hat trick for Ray Lee. You called it, Eric.
Someone had to take a shot on goal. I think this is where you say, okay, 9 is enough. Tacoma, bring back Danny Waltman and just end this mercifully. But we'll take another look at Lee's hat trick here. Ball kissed off the wall. Takes one touch. Oh man, there's some cookie jars that got smashed.
Oh, that thing was a rocket.
And he's shown power on all 3 goals. He's actually shown some power on misses too.
Yeah, there's no, Rafael had no chance on that one. Ray Lee, that hat trick, congratulations. Kansas City, Missouri native, drafted by the Philadelphia Union in the MLS draft back in the day. 2nd year with the Comets. Park Hill High School graduate. Went to St. Louis U, SKC Academy.
Hope we see him on the Team of the Week here for MASL, making a bid there. Hat trick as a defender. Tacoma stays with the 6th attacker.
2.5 to play. And Rafael Cox still out there. Comets lead by 7.
Seen this too many times, though. You give up a cheap goal, and that 10th one just winds up demoralizing your team.
Here's Matt Lewis. On back to Lee. Lee will play it back to Meisner. Lou Meisner making his debut here tonight. Meisner kicks it right up Main Street. Corey Keats gets a touch on it. Up into the air. Adam James to Nacho. Back to Nacho. Nacho shoots. Looking for his teammate there. Cox coming out for the Stars. Gets it up to Ramos.
Look at Pereira hustling up the left flank. And then nobody passes it to him.
Pereira does look a little tired right now. Here's Pereira. Into Megson. 1 minute and 30 seconds left to play. Comets are going to win their 2nd home game. They'll go 2-0 at home. Long drive, and Lou Meisner kind of retreating back towards his goal, sent it up and over the glass.
Good power there from Keats from a long way away, and Meisner saw it all the way. Did the safe thing, just palmed it out. Give up the corner kick rather than a rebound.
.118 to play. Road trip continues for Tacoma on January 4th and 5th. They'll be down in Texas for 2 games against Mesquite and Dallas. And then finally on Friday, January 10th is when they'll be home to take on Turlock. It'll be this is their longest road trip of the season. Drive by Ramos, and you can see all the Comets sacrificing their bodies down on the ground. Now Pereira to the corner. Caceres, wall pass through the area, off the boards. Comets clear it away. Stokic was there. Last minute, Pereira with a drive. That one off the glass. And now a long drive from the Comets' yellow line, just wide. Sixth attacker still out there. Final seconds clicking off the clock. Pereira to Keats. Jams it in there, deflecting around. Stokic had a touch on it. Now right side Keats. Roll the back Ramos. Shot save. Lou Meisner.
I don't know how many saves he's had, but he has been steady back there. No bad rebounds. I think if you had told him, another great save.
Oh, wow.
If you had told him that you were going to win 9-2 here on your debut, if not 10-2.
Rolling.
Oh, it didn't go in.
Just wide. Horn sounds. That's it. End of the game.
Gets a hug.
Final score. 9-2, Kansas City. Lou Meisner and Ray Lee. There he is, Ray Lee, our star of the game, had the hat trick. 2 goals in the second, and he added the third in the fourth. Kansas City improves to 3-3. Tacoma falls to 2-5.
And how does that game on Tuesday in St. Charles strike you? It's going to be a battle. St. Louis and Kansas City both eyeing the 5th spot, wanting to crack the top 4 for the playoffs. I think both teams will view this as a must-win game.
Yep. No question about it.
Because if you're the Comets, then you come back home and you face the Milwaukee Waves. So you want to get all the wins you can at this point of the season.
Yeah, once they go to St. Louis, they will be home for 3 straight, and they'll be the 4th of January against Milwaukee, and then Friday, January 10th versus Orlando. Orlando's in a fire sale right now.
Yeah, they are unloading players. They unloaded another player today to Baltimore, so I'm not sure who we're going to be seeing on the 10th.
Schmerman to Baltimore today. You're right, Eric. And then Friday the 17th against Milwaukee, and then they go on the road against Milwaukee. So the Comets, 3 of their next 5 games are going to be against the Milwaukee Wave.
Well, and you want to get points, and you know what to expect against them. It's going to be a battle. You're going to see a lot of Bennett. You're going to see a lot of Ferdinand. Change in goal hasn't seemed to impact them at all. They're steady all through that lineup.
We're going to check in with Steve Serrano here in just 1 second. He's going to chat with our star of the game, Ray Lee. So let's go to Steve Serrano right now.
That is right, a hat trick. How did tonight feel for you?
It felt amazing. I mean, we came out with the right mentality. We pressured them right off the bat, created chances off of that, so that was amazing for us. And I was able to score and create from there, so that's how strong we were.
3 big goals for you, but also the Comets put up 9. This is definitely a team effort. I mean, how did you guys come around to put so many points on the board tonight?
I mean, like I said, with our mentality from pressuring, and we create chances off of there, from jumping on them early, not letting them play out the back.
When you score so many points, is there anything specific that you feel that you need to work on for next week?
As far as this game, just keeping the same mentality, going at them strong. You know, that's what we're great at. You know, we have good legs. We can run a lot and run teams into the ground without pressure.
Anything you'd like to say to these fans? This is only the second home game, so this is great for them to see you guys with a big win.
No, I appreciate you guys. You guys are the best. Thank you.
There you go. 3 goals tonight. Big win for the Kansas City Comets. Nate?
All right, Steve Serrano with our star of the game, Ray Lee, with the hat trick tonight. Oh, I think we're also going to talk to, are we going to talk to Danny Waltman? Maybe not. All right, Danny's going to do the rounds here. He's going to say hi to all the fans here. So, all right, that's going to do it for our broadcast. Any final thoughts here, the Comets?
That was a win you needed. 7 goals was really impressive. They're going to have a chance on Tuesday to show if they're serious about making a run to the top 4.
Comets in St. Louis for a New Year's Day game, 3:05 on MASL TV. Next home game is January 4th against the Milwaukee Wave. 6:05 for that game. Ticketmaster has your tickets, and kccomets.com for more information. So that is going to do it here tonight. Great broadcast. Eric, thank you so much. Appreciate your insight and analysis. Had a great time on the broadcast with you. Also want to thank our crew tonight. Brad Zimmerman, our director. Chris Wright doing replay. Wags, Paul Stokes, and Alicia Strauss on our camera crews. Another great effort tonight by the Comets. And we appreciate you being here tonight on MASL TV. My name is Nick Vassos. Once again, the final score, the Comets 9 and the Stars 2. Good night from Silverstein Ice Centers Arena.